What's up, shoegazers and miscellaneous human beings? This is SparkleDart here again. I'm going to talk about some new things today. First of all, I'd like to talk about... Oh, okay. Okay, I see. Oh, you dick. So I'd like to talk about the upcoming election. 2016 is when we're getting a new president. I am so stoked. I'm tired of the old guy. Not to sound racist or nothing, but I think he really made a mess of things, and I think a strong conservative leader would really clean up the country, if you catch my drift. I think we need a good balance of left and right, and people call me a libertarian, and I don't like to self-identify as such, but if that means that I have both left and right political ideals, then I guess... Oh, no. Okay. If I've got both left and right political ideals, then I guess that's just the way it's gonna have to be. But to call me... I mean, libertarianism is not something to be ashamed of. And I would know because I went to a convention last year for conservatives. You know, they call it the Grand Old Party, and they are old. They are all very old-fashioned. And then I went to a leftist rally at the local college campus where there were a bunch of children basically wearing headbands and burqas and something that I've always referred to as a drug rug and Birkenstocks and sandals and all sorts of gross things on the feet. And I just couldn't understand why anybody would want to be a part of that movement. So I figured maybe I'm somewhere more in the middle. Word salad, man. So, maybe I'm somewhere in the middle, I don't know. But people tell me that that's where I am, and they say that there's nothing wrong with that. They say both sides have a lot of good ideas, and I think that that's true. And I think both sides have equally more bad ideas. So, in the upcoming 2016 election, you know what? I'm not going to tell you who I'm going to vote for because I don't want to sway your vote, if you catch my drift. They say old Jeb Bush from Florida is going to be running for president. You know, Jeb Bush, he's one of the Bush brothers. There's like 5 of them. There's Neil and George and Jeb and, the other guy, the other kid. Who remembers? Who remembers? Who remembers? So, Jeb, he was the mayor of Florida, the governor of Florida, the principal of Florida for quite a while. And I think he might have a good chance to win, only because he's a Bush, and 2 Bushes have preceded him in office. Although, if that is the case, I gotta say there might be some nepotism at work, and nepotism is never a good thing if it means that the guy's gonna be running the country for 4 years. I mean, his dad was quite the little mastermind, I would like to think, and I don't want to think that HW is going to be pulling the strings while old Jeb is in office, but I think that is a distinct possibility. Now, get out of here, you fucking poser. Is this like a Donkey Kong, man? What's going on here? Okay, so... Hold on just a second. These guys are confusing. They piss me off. Please don't. Okay, so Jeb's coming in. He's a strong conservative candidate, and if he can prove his worth to the country, I would be more than happy to vote for him. What I'm concerned about, though, is the possibility that him and his dad and his brother are running a gamut on the government and trying to impose their own ideals on the people of the U.S. And if that is the case, then I guess that's just what they're gonna do. Rich people will do what rich people will do. I mean, have you ever been to, or have you ever seen the movie The Parent Trap? One of the families was poor, one of them was rich, and they went on a cruise, and then you heard the song, L is for the only L I see. You know that song. That's a good song, but it really shows that rich people have no idea what the world is all about. And you know, my dad was not a rich man. We lived in squalor for basically the first 7 years of my life, and then we moved to a nice house in the suburbs. But before that, it was pretty much just apartments and trailers and all sorts of garbage like that. And I do think that it made me a more humble person. Like, I would never... Okay, so this physically doesn't make sense here. I think it made me a more humble person, and because of that, I like to think that, excuse me, I'm better off because of it, but a lot of people would I apologize, I've got real bad gas right now. Some people might say that it makes me, less in touch with my fellow man, and I guess the only reason why they would say something like that is because my fellow man was brought in from a upper middle class white family background, and if I'm not in touch with those people, I think maybe all the better, because I think a lot of upper middle class people still don't know the plight of the lower middle class and even the underclass, maybe even the normal middle class, to be quite fair. Now, I'm not trying to belittle what they believe in or nothing like that. I think that everybody's belief system is important. I mean, like I said, I'm kind of a libertarian, and I would never tell you to vote for Ron Paul, even though he's got some good ideas, and Rand Paul, even though he's got some good ideas. Ha! But I digress. Oh, so I should talk about the liberal side of things too, huh? So, Hillary, you know Hillary, she was the first lady when Mr. Clinton was in office, and she's a pretty smart lady. She's got a good head on her shoulders, and she's got a good man at her side, except for when he's, you know, doing those things that she doesn't like so well. Hold on. Oh no. I don't like what's going on here. Ugh. Okay, so hold on just a second. I'm fixing to do something. Well, that's weird. Okay, so hold on. Like I said, I'm talking about Hillary. I'll get back to that here in... Oh, I'm dead. So, Hillary, she's already thrown her hat into the ring for this next 2016 election. And I'm a little bit concerned that she's going to get some of the feminist votes just because she's a woman. And I don't think that that's a legitimate reason for a person to become a president of the country. I do think that having a woman president is an important thing and will be an important thing at some point in the future. I just don't think that having the first woman president immediately after having the first black president sends a very good message to the way that the American people are voting. You know, if they're only voting for what they believe on as far as social issues go, then it seems like they got pretty bad priorities, and I would agree that they probably do. I mean, I got pretty bad priorities too. I'm probably going to be voting for somebody who lines up with my political ideals, and that is just not appropriate these days. I have to be voting for the people who will make the most change diversially. Is that a word? Diversially? I don't know if that's a word or not. If that's a word, you're going to have to tell me. You're going to have to point me to Merriam-Webster and then show me what word I meant to say, because I'm sure it was something completely obvious that just slipped my tongue. You know, I talk a lot. I talk so much that I forget the things that I say, and sometimes I'm going a million miles an hour. And when I'm going a million miles an hour like that, I kind of slip over my words, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I got a lot to say, and I think anybody who has a lot to say should have a voice. Now, there's the problem with this country is that some people think that those who have a lot to say don't need to have a voice. They should be silenced. And I don't think anybody should be silenced. I just happen to think that if somebody has an opinion that is not worth hearing, that they will be silenced just naturally. Like, silenced. I'm sorry, that was a stupid thing to say. They'll be silenced naturally. And if they're silenced naturally, then it doesn't matter what you tell them to say or not, because they're not going to say nothing that you're going to hear. I mean, there's a reason why politicians get so much funding from big corporations. It's because they've got... The big corporations have a lot to say about themselves, and if they pay a candidate to say it, then they can... No. bullshit. If they pay a candidate to say the message, then they can get a lot of grounds covered. They can talk to a lot of people with just one simple mouthpiece, and I do think that that is a problem. I think that's a problem for many reasons. The biggest of which reason being that the politicians aren't being themselves, not saying what they need to say in order to make their message known. And you know why that's a problem? That's a problem because if they're not saying what they need to say to make the message known, then they're just saying what somebody else is telling them to say. So why would we not just elect that person if we think that they're telling the truth? You know, like the Koch brothers, I'm sure they're paying off Hillary or Bush or one of those guys, one of those political types, you know, not just Snowdens or whatever, but your candidate types, your Herman Cains and your Herman Munsters and whoever else it is that has a public speaking platform because they've got millions of dollars to make their opinion known. And that's how they get into power, and we can't let that happen. So, if you're going to do some voting next year, take some things into account before you do. Make sure you do your own independent research, find out who is paid the most by which companies, look up those companies, make sure they're companies to trust and not companies to avoid. One particular country that I would say you should avoid is, I don't want to ruffle any feathers here, but Monsanto is one, definitely because of the things that they do and the shady business practices that they have. Now, I'm not saying that they're not an efficient company, but I don't know where their efficiency comes from. Like, who's to say that, I mean, I know that Monsanto back in the 1970s and 60s were creating something called Agent Orange to use on Vietnam during the war that we had with them, that we were never going to win because we didn't have enough troops or infantry, if you will. So, we used a horrible orange gas to burn down the forests and the villages and the people and their babies, and that still didn't work for us, so we wound up killing millions of people in vain, and that is, I guess, kind of what war is, but I mean, some people are okay with war, some people aren't. War, you know, war is an important thing for some reasons, but not very many good ones. And I exploded, and that is what we do. So, just so I can make this clear. Okay, I have to wait for this shit to happen again. So I can make this clear. Nice. Are they gonna do the same thing again? I hope they do. Oh, they're gonna do it again. So, I don't like when Let's Plays are Let's Plays. Basically what I mean is that if all the commentator does is talk about what's going on in the game, then it's not a good game or a good video or a good Let's Play video. But sometimes it's really necessary because the bosses or whatever, they're kind of difficult and there's a lot to cover, there's a lot of ground to cover. So if you're going to complain about that, at least make your complaints valid. That's all I'm going to say. So we're going to take a break here. Have fun. Goodbye. Mwah. Go take your dog outside. He's been waiting at the door for like 5 minutes now, probably barking. He doesn't know your name, otherwise he'd be calling out your name instead of going woof woof, and that's what dogs do. So if you want to go take your dog out, I will wait for you, and I'll be back here tomorrow. This has been SparkleDart. Bye. Mwah.